What is going on, Wastelanders? It is me, the Lone Vault Wanderer, here with another Fallout 4 video. So this video is going to be covering Pete Hines' explanation of why Fallout 4 is more colourful than compared to past Fallout games. Now the article that I'm talking off of, as always, is linked in the description below, but I want to be highlighting the main points. So in response to the question, is it lighter with regards to Fallout 4, they were also talking about the colour of Fallout 4 before that question, Pete Hines responds with the following: "Oh yeah, I think it was a conscious decision. I think the team was very self-aware that Fallout 3 was a depressing looking world, but that was part of the motif that they were going for, which is you emerge into this world having lived in the vault, and it was very much your father is on this quest to save humanity. Like, humanity needs saving. Look at all this, it's horrible. Somebody has got to do something." This has a slightly different tone to it, and not specific to the story, but just the mood of the world is more of a, this is life, like, this is normal, this is reality now. There is no more nicely manicured lawns or white picket fences or going back to that. This is what home looks like now. So this paragraph was interesting to me on a number of different levels. Not only does it bring up for discussion the somewhat controversial topic of Fallout 4's colour, but it also gives an explanation of why Fallout 4 is a bit more colourful than past Fallout games. Now, as soon as a Fallout 4 trailer was dropped onto our laps, one of the very obvious things about Fallout 4 that was noted by almost everyone was the sense of colour that is clearly present within the game. Bethesda have obviously gone well out of their way to ensure that Fallout 4 is a much more colourful game, is a much more lively game, and it doesn't have that, green tinge that Fallout 3 seemed to have, or even the orange tinge that Fallout New Vegas seemed to have, which many people did not like actually, and that's exactly why there were PC mods to actually remove those, monotone colours of film out of the actual gameplay. So with Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, it actually looked like real life. There wasn't this random green or orange tinge over the game, but rather the colours looked real and they looked lively and they looked colourful and saturated. And it seems like Bethesda has gone in a similar direction with Fallout 4. Now, whether it's a bad thing that Fallout 4 is colourful or saturated is obviously down to subjective opinion. I personally prefer colour and I prefer saturation, probably a little more than normal, but nevertheless I still like the fact that Fallout 4 is going for this more lively and colourful look, because even if there was a world that was subject to a nuclear disaster and ergo was in this post-apocalyptic scenario, that doesn't mean everything is gonna look green. I understand what BGS was going for with Fallout 3 when they made everything have that green tinge to it, because it kind of gave you the nuclear feel to it. But that doesn't mean it made sense from a realistic standpoint. You still expect, even in a post-apocalyptic world, you still expect some color. You still expect the world to look like a real world, and not somehow just because some bombs drop that everything looks green. That doesn't necessarily make sense. So that's one big reason why I like the color in Fallout 4, is because it does make it look a little bit more realistic. But again, I'm a little bit biased because I do have a big thing with saturation. Look at the gameplay in the background for Fallout 3 that you're seeing right now. I have the saturation set to no end because I just like the look. I think it looks much better in my personal opinion. Some people might disagree, and some people might disagree with my thoughts about Fallout 4 and the color being better. And that's fine, it's a very, very subjective point. But I think the most interesting thing about this paragraph is why Bethesda has placed this emphasis on a more lighter, more brighter, more colorful game in Fallout 4. The way I like to explain it is that the color is now providing further context to the world of Fallout as it stands now in Fallout 4. It is no longer this world that is solely trying to cope with post-apocalyptia and the aftermath of the Great War and nuclear bombs, but rather things have started to transition into a stage where they've become acceptant of the world as it stands, as this post-apocalyptic, post-Great War era, and now the citizens and the world of Fallout is starting to improve. Things are starting to slowly edge back to how things were back before the Great War, back before the bombs actually fell. And I've made a video about this in the past. It seems like everything in the world of Fallout 4 is starting to be rebuilt again. We see construction sites, we see scaffolding, we see people trying to rebuild the wasteland and rebuild Boston in this instance to the glory of the pre-war days. And obviously that makes complete sense. You don't expect for human beings to just dwell in this terrible and undesirable wasteland. No, you expect human beings to eventually say, enough is enough, we need to improve our standard of living, we need to improve the world around us, we need to get back to the way things were, no matter how long that will take. And the color helps push that motif along. It helps push this atmosphere wherein Fallout is rebuilding again and is not just dwelling on the theme of post-apocalyptia. Bethesda wanted to reflect the fact that things are now improving in the world of Fallout, so a good way to represent that is not have everything with this green tinge, which the initial intention was in Fallout 3 to represent nuclear power and to represent nuclear bombs. That green tinge kind of gave that sense. But now, because Fallout 4 isn't necessarily going for that tone anymore, there is no need to have that green tinge. In fact, it's more productive in terms of developing the history and lore of Fallout into the future to add a bit of color back into the game and to say things are improving and this is why. So anyways, Wastelanders, I would love to get your thoughts on this particular topic. Please leave them in the comments below. Do you like the sense of color in Fallout 4, or do you think it's a bit too much? As always, please follow me on Twitch and Twitter. The links of those pages are in the description below. And until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself, and as always, keep fighting the good fight.